Harun's chief researcher and MD, Anas Junaid Rahman, is joining us. Anas, afternoon. Thanks so much for your time. As I was just discussing, there appears to be a massive wealth effect going on in the country. A variety of factors, of course, some partly because of the newly minted unicorns in the country, and of course the stock market also has a role to play there with a big bull run happening there. You tell us, what are your key observations this time when you were preparing the rich list?
Hi, thanks, Ajaya. Thanks a lot for your for having me here today. One of the key observations that I've had after doing research for the last 10 years is India is possibly witnessing the fastest wealth creation era in its history, and things have changed very much from when we started the list in 2012 to what it is right now, 10 years later. One of the very interesting highlights that I want to point out in this year's list is that, in 2012, when we did our first IIFL Wealth Hurun India Rich List, we had absolutely no entrants from the software and services, software and products sector, software product sector. Fast forward 10 years now, we have about 73 founders or co-founders who are building amazing software tech product company based in India. So that's been an immense, great trend from my perspective. And over the next few 5-10 years, this number is going to exponentially grow. So that's one very interesting trend. And there are quite a few other things that is there in the list. For instance, in 2012, the size of the list was just 100. Now the list has grown on to become 1,007 individuals. And the number of billionaires in India, the known billionaires in India, in 10 years back was what we could find was about 54. Now the number has grown to about 237. Another interesting trend in this year's IIFL Wealth Hurun India Rich List is in 2012, we could find about 10 cities, 10 Indian cities in the rich list. That means there were entrepreneurs from about 10 cities. Now fast forward 10 years, we could find about 76 Indian cities from which these entrepreneurs come from. So the wealth creation is going across sectors, across cities, across geographies, and more and more young wealth creators are coming on board as well. So it's quite promising, from that perspective.
So Anas, sure. So Anas, the sense which I get from your view is that not only Indians are getting wealthier, more and more Indians are getting wealthier, but the wealth effect is broadening out in the country as well. Typically, one would have thought that urban centers, merely metro-centric places were the ones earlier in the list, but now it's broadening. More and more cities are coming on that map, and we did see, the recent Lamborghini commentary also coming in, that the way more and more people are ordering or going for Lamborghini from non-metros, that list is actually growing too. Let's talk about the new age technology role, like consumer tech, ed tech, all these Zomato, Swiggies of the world, the way these companies are becoming more and more valuable. Global dollars are coming here to participate in that, and the employees, the founders, and the entire ecosystem is a beneficiary of that. The role of technology-enabled businesses, the new age businesses also. What are your thoughts?
Great question. In 2011 was when India had its first unicorn through InMobi, right? Since then, every year we've sort of had one unicorn per year and so on. But over the last couple of years, the number of tech companies that had a valuation of more than $1 billion US has been growing dramatically. I mean, that's quite interesting. And one of the things that I really think that has contributed to this effect is, of course, India's demography is quite dynamic and quite interesting and quite promising. But more than that, the internet penetration, thanks to companies like Jio, which has made internet more accessible to not only these companies to build amazing products, but also to consumers to use these products. And that effect is only going to further increase. And we only scratched the surface here. We possibly had edtech, quite interesting. Then you have shared economy. All that is, those are all focused on solving Indian problems. We have even started really creating more very valuable companies from the electric EV sector. considering India's population, rising income levels, and so on. That's another new sort of tech or innovation that you would see in India, which will have a much broader effect on wealth creation ecosystem. Then there are these. We haven't seen a very super valuable company from AI or blockchain or those exotic kind of sectors, which we've heard that quite a few valuable companies are built in the US and China and so on. So there is still a lot more sector that is yet to be explored when it comes to new sectors, even from tech itself. And considering the sheer attraction of
Right.
Indian in the demography and also the rising income levels, this is
Mm-hmm.
going to, when I estimate at least in 5 years from now, you would have at least 500 entrants from the tech sector to be
Right.
in the rich list by 2025, 2026. Yeah.
Right. Anas, even the non-technology side, I mean, the Indian corporates as a whole, in the last couple of years and quarters, have become much more efficient. Balance sheets have become much more leaner. A huge amount of debt has been repaid, and in the bargain, the valuations have gone up. That also has a role to play in a way in the wealth effect.
You are absolutely correct about it. And my intuitive sense as a layman is that why are these multiples going up, right? And then it's possibly one way to look at the whole thing is investors' affirmation on the prospect of Indian corporates or Indian companies, right? And because of which Indian companies have become pricey or super valuable. And exactly the points that you mentioned right now, and agree with you completely, because of which the multiples have gone up, which has had an impact to the overall value of the business. So I think I agree with you, and that's had an impact on the overall multiples and impact on the overall valuation of
Running
the
out of
business.
time.
And
Sure. Right. Anas, we are very short on time, so very quickly, if you could also give me a view on how does the role of the policymakers, the role of the environment enablers, regulators, and in some way government also have to play in this?
very, very much. I think these stories of these entrepreneurs basically tell the stories of modern Indian economy, and the role that the government has played in terms of Startup India, Stand Up India scheme, the PLI schemes, the lowering of corporate tax rates, all that has had an impact on the value of the business and also on these companies being able to incentivize on their core areas. So of course that has had an impact. And these are some of the initiatives that I thought has a direct impact on the value creation, both from startup and core business standpoint.
Right. All right, Anas, we'll let you go on that one. Thanks so much for your time and your perspective. With that, it's out of time on this edition of the Newsroom. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.